If I'm understanding this correctly, as it concerns Demon Hunter, and these 4 singles that have debuted after the release of her latest album, Exile, we have, with the introduction to us of Black Stained Glass, a balancing act of sorts, and a quality of sound output, or, better terminology, metal stylization. 2 harsh numbers, 2 softer, more mellow ballad-skewing pieces. Black Stained Glass, as I understand based on fan conversation, fitting to the latter categorization more so. Now, whatever form this piece would choose to take, considering who's putting it out, I'm automatically brought in. And I'm sure many of you recognize the name if you frequent my work. Legends of indie Christian metal sphere and rock fan bases, again, to be inclusive to both genres. There is some crossover. But, of course, plenty of appeal, I'm sure, to outside audiences as well. Demon Hunter's talents speak for themselves as very proficient and quite bombastic or revealing metal names. I'm considering revealing in respect to their lyrics and narratives, and with considerations and adventures you and I have taken together in a collaborative route, which I've noted before, it's my main philosophy: music is best to enjoy in company. However you approach, whether you're a longtime fan of Demon Hunter like myself, or maybe you even advance me, or any other developing listeners, or new introductions to them, I think Demon Hunter is a name that will boast plenty of appeal, especially with respect to the 4 singles that have debuted, 3 that we've witnessed together with respect to The Brink, Some of Us, and Worlds Apart. That last one being really good. I've listened to it, in fact, the last couple of times I've gone out this week. It's such a good number. It really stands out. Again, these offerings since Exile, which was quite an adventure to take for myself, and even better to do so with you, a 12-track ride I think we took. So much fun. Beautiful adventures that we take with many artists here, but Demon Hunter, no exception at all to that. And I'm sure Black Stained Glass will appeal in respect to its more mellower edge, which I will say, admittedly, I do gravitate first and foremost as a metalhead of many years to the harsher side, and Demon Hunter has delivered well on that front over numerous generations of their craftsmanship. But the mellower stuff too appeals to me. Right? And everybody has their particular favorite metal subset and language. Music is first and foremost a subjective art, and Demon Hunter understands the avenues of taste that I'm sure exist within the community of fans that I'm honored to be a part of, and even more so to bring them in a spotlight fashion here. Long-time ambition. We have how many opportunities I've come up with these 4 singles and Exile. It's been a dream long fulfilled in that respect, and we're going to elaborate today with Black Stained Glass and continue that adventure on. What I've seen, at least in fan conversation, I haven't gone too far with the song, certainly in the instrumental grounds. We're going to enjoy that in a fresh witness, but I have previewed the lyrics, and I can definitely say the poetic language of what I see in description with some of the spiritual motifs automatically appeals. And as I understand, just based again on some light postings and comments I saw in passing with this is a piece that's going to be contemplative, and as I said, mellower, and it's a piece we're going to have to dig into. I've seen some conversation, in fact, say that this is a piece that's going to, I think, more so ground itself in over time, which, that type of complexity with Demon Hunter, I'm not surprised at all with it. But I'm curious to dig into this one and see if the music, in fact, enhances the presence of the theme that I already see explored in part brilliantly by Black Stained Glass. And a creative name, by the way. Again, I love the descriptions here with the imagery. With what's illustrated to me so far, I get the sense this is going to be an evidently complex experience to take in. And those Demon Hunter types of entries are the best, whether that's considered in musical respect or lyrically. And I have seen it as well with respect to the instrumental score, but this is also boasting something devouring and, for lack of better phrasing, meaty. Again, Demon Hunter's a fun name to dig into, whether it be on the harsher side or the more mellow and thought-provoking pieces. Although the harsher ones can be that too. But, and certainly that last one was. Again, I can't get over Worlds Apart. That number, and I've seen consensus too among the Demon Hunter fan base that one is being welcomed with open arms. It's like one of their favorites, even from some since like their early days. It really is a good single. Though I like the last 2 as well, Some of Us in the Brink, not to overshadow those. And I'm sure Black Stained Glass will follow suit accordingly. It's Demon Hunter though. Automatically exciting, and it's great to be able to bring on more particular favorites again from my early entrance within the music world of a Christian origin. I was raised on Christian music in the contemporary sphere. It didn't take that long for me to dig into rock and metal. This is one of the earliest names that I have been privileged to entertain and enjoy for many repeat listens, and I'm sure Black Stained Glass will have the same testimony. And if this is your first introduction to Demon Hunter, I'm excited for you. This is a group worth digging into, and their library boasts so much advantage. You're going to like it if you take the journey for yourself. But let's start with Black Stained Glass for you. And for any ever advanced listeners like myself of Demon Hunter who were more than familiarized, right? We get another entry to welcome together on first-time witness basis. Best way to enjoy music. For Demon Hunter, it's always a treat. I feel like we're attempting an acoustic performance. Kind of going maybe down the path of like Songs of Death and Resurrection. Bit. On edge. Maybe that's what it's trying to evoke. That heartfelt sentiment. Creating a more approachable experience with the heart evident.
When I would speak like I was there. Under the light of absolution and repair.
I really like the clarity of the strums. Again, acoustic performing. That's very different from what I've heard from them.
Where I went wrong. Playing Judas in the dark under my song.
As I said, phrasing, that's a beautiful line.
Where is the peace?
So much meaning behind it.
Would follow grace.
That was gorgeous.
All the holes within my heart go separate ways.
Ryan's vocals are melting into those last notes. Isn't that just incredible?
Stained glass, all my purities paid under the veil of black. Stained glass, black, stained glass. There was a fire.
It's so small, but the volume application. We'll hear it again on the chorus, but you notice that too, right? This is very different.
Now I am left just praying death would take me twice. Where is the peace that I once heard would follow grace? All of the holes within my
This is such a beautiful number.
go separate ways.
Every hit with those vocals just sink.
Stained glass, all my purities paid under the veil of black. Stained glass,
That's just gorgeous.
black, stained glass, and I won't justify this dark and light in one. For all deception said and done. Please don't cast me out for learning to be numb.
That's just said really good line work, but
That I've become.
we still have a little over 2 minutes to go with this one.
Stained glass,
I didn't realize how long the duration was.
purities paid under the veil of black. Stained glass, black, stained glass.
My thoughts are this is going to be an instrumental closure that's going to be about a minute 30. A little over that. This piece commands that direction. And my attention is fittingly drifting both between lyrics and the identity and creativity and exploration there mixed with the score that I've not heard before from them. Nothing this down to earth, so to speak. Evidently grounded. The progression of instrumental build is quite charming, but I love the stripped quality of this. And again, as I said, the clarity. No wonder this one is being chatted about from a favorable lens. I'm not surprised now that I've heard it. And again, I'm considering my years of following this group, and I'm not clicking on any pieces right now in their back catalog that this is close to. This feels like an evolution. Well, an evolution... Maybe we'll see more of this in the future based on different album entries or singles, or maybe this will be kept in isolation. Maybe there's a beauty of it being just like a one-off differentiated number that Demon Hunter hasn't really played around with before, other than in acoustic regard. As I said, maybe this, at least in part, connects me to Songs of Death and Resurrection and what I've heard of it, with a more acoustic tailoring. But even if we depart from that and consider the Demon Hunter library on part of CD entries and any piece that would be considered more ballad-leaning, there's nothing that's gone, I think, this soft. Maybe some pieces have played... I'm thinking of, let's say, on Peace, for example, Fear Is Not My Guide. That one is more embodied centrally by a piano. It's not such a light strum with Welcome to Isolation. Is it in that second verse where there's that break, just so abruptly? I think that's where it was. It's somewhere in that song. I'm sure you noticed that sense of abandonment, too. Again, different choices with this that I do not recognize. And maybe I need to go back and refresh myself in some of the previous entries, but this is not coming to mind on anything I've heard before. And it is quite a memorable single for that reason, because it does stand out from the other three. Even The Brink was more enhanced than this. And that one, as I said, led more ballad-esque. Even that one had a bit of a rougher edge to it, in part because it was playing around from what I remember like an 80s influence, electronic synth drift. But it was... Each piece so far that we've witnessed has been memorable for some reason, as an experience. And this one, I see the identity of it. Clearly, there's no way to not acknowledge that. It's unapologetically different. But the beauty... If you're me, and I've said this before, when you're trying to cover a piece from the angle I take, you try to take in every layer. So at the same time as I'm being mesmerized by the score, I'm also trying to take into account every line of the lyrics, which are easy to do because, again, of how slowly proceeding this number is. It allows you to take it welcomes its approach, and any person that wants to listen to it. Wherever you happen to be, this can be quite interesting. Again, if you're walking in with new eyes, and you've never experienced Demon Hunter before, I will tell you this is very different from their catalog. So just know that going in if you choose to dig deeper, and you should. But this is a number that could maybe take a broader audience, even those that might not necessarily be metal fans first and foremost, or might not prefer the aggressive edge, and more, let's say, Christian contemporary, with a contemplativeness that is deeply transfixing and admirable. As I said, lines that really stand out to me in the writing, and Ryan and the group write some very rich songs in terms of narrative philosophy. If you've ever purchased for yourself the deluxe versions, or have gotten a window for what songs have been looking to speak to on part of band disclosure, maybe more open than that, of course you could go online and reference different motives behind the songs have been published in that form. But if you've read the digital booklets that have come on part of the digital versions of their last couple of releases, you'll really notice this. And you as a listener are able to immediately sink into the heart of the artist and experience that same motive and get it. This Playing Judas in the Dark Under My Sun, I basically, at least from the sense that and again, this is a number that I think, I'm going to be fair to it and say it's going to take its time. I totally get that we need to let it sit and process. It's a number with a lot of depth, musically, of course, and lyrically. But at least superficially, I see evident Christian and biblical philosophies and declarations told with such uniqueness. Playing Judas in the dark under my skin, I sit with that line. Sort of the hypocritical duality between man and, well, performing as one thing when you're not, or maybe acting differently. And the song is sort of, I guess, a reconciling of emotions for maybe a strayed heart. Black stained glass, though, it's such a great visual. I love that. Please don't cast me out for learning to be numb. And for the wreck that wow. It's a piercing song. And again, as I said, I think it requires us to sit down with it and take it in on more of a meditation. It commands that, but just on superficial acknowledgement, playing Judas in the dark under my sun, I love that line. Freaking love it. But again, I'm trying to award attention fairly. And my mind right now, even as I say that and try to actively concentrate on the lyrics, is drifting back into the experience of the score, which it's just so different from Demon Hunter from what I know, with its evidently stripped appearance and its clarity upon the instruments and the choices it makes even to abandon the instruments at different points, the progression of instrumental builds and the closure effect as well of lessening that impact and returning to original refrain of what introduces us. It's a beautiful bookend structure, paired with as well the vocal choices, notably with enhancing the volume and at some points having it override, not necessarily override, but integrate with the notes so you can't tell. It muddles the evident contrast and difference. It's just so charming. You know, again, I don't know how many years I'm at this point, 13, 14-ish. It's been a long ride with this group, and I haven't regretted one moment of it. But even with Exile and on, I have seen so many new layers come into play. Well, with Exile, most evidently the whole conceptual vision to it. But even in the musical quality, even with that album, different experimental traits that they've not necessarily employed before. And these singles have captured some new, notably with the ballad drifting, like The Brink and this one now. Those are the most evident, I think, in terms of the creative liberties that they've not necessarily, or most evidently played around with before, to such an exaggeration like this. A beautiful exaggeration. Because Black Stained Glass has quite unique boasting, and I find it to be instantly memorable. And I'm sure many of you will too, if you're a Demon Hunter fan. As I've seen from conversation, yeah, this is specific, and I'm sure maybe we'll see with time it become more of a partnership with the group, or it will remain in isolation. It'll be charming on that reason. I could see either extreme being evolved on. And whatever the case is, of course, of Demon Hunter, open door policy is always I award to any artist, and it's quite a thrill, as I've said, in any entry I've taken to bring them to your graces as well, if this is the first introduction for you. But to just showcase them for myself, it is an honor. But to experience such a new voice as well in time with all of you. Black Stained Glass is amazing. I like that song. There's a real beauty to it. And again, I first and foremost prefer harsher Demon Hunter, but I'm open to the ballad numbers, and I've welcomed them evenly as well for their own charm in different respects, but whatever's boasted. This one, I'll remember. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.